Good afternoon and welcome to our July webinar. Today's topic is integrated e-commerce solutions. Murray will kick it off with some interesting statistics and data on e-commerce, and then we're going to do a demo for you. I hope you find this very interesting. If you have questions throughout, please submit them in the chat line and we will get to those at the end of the presentation. Murray, I'll send it over to you.
Thanks, Brenda. So first of all, I'll introduce our presenters for today. So we've got Steve Swenson at the top left. He's our senior business consultant, and then Samantha Niton DeForge, business solutions specialist. So Steve's been in and around ERP software for a long time, like myself. Samantha has a particular knack for learning stuff quickly and being able to present kind of vague concepts in a very straightforward manner. So they will be doing the product demonstration for us later in the agenda. I'm Murray Quibel here, the guy on the right. My background is in the finance side, so what I'm going to do is get right into the numbers here. I like to kick off things with numbers, and here's some graphs. And the reason I'm showing these graphs here now is I want to be clear around the impact of e-commerce. So what we're showing here in this slide here is retail e-commerce sales worldwide. So where we're at right now, as we're finishing of 2019, this is tracking at 3.5 trillion worldwide. And as we track up to 2023, it's projected to be 6.5 trillion. So again, nearly double in a few years. Now, if we dig deeper into these stats, these are actually from January 2020, so they are pre-COVID. I'm going to get into some conclusion around these stats later. The other thing is that in this time frame, they're actually projecting total retail sales to be relatively flat. So e-commerce is increasing a lot, where total retail sales are generally flat. And so there's a little bit of a growth each year. They're actually only projecting a 2% growth in e-commerce as a percent of total sales. So this growth is happening even though other things are relatively flat. It's not just business to consumer. So these two graphs are showing business to consumer on the top left and business to business here down in the bottom right. So the darker graph is actually showing business to business, whereas the lighter blue is business to consumer. So the trend here, of course, is up across both sides. So now, fast forward to what's going on in the world over the last few months. So we don't have current stats that are going to compile all this and be able to take all the changes that have happened in the last few months and project them into 2023. So we haven't seen an updated set of those stats, but suffice to say, it's going to be far more than that 6.5 trillion that they projected. What we're seeing here, the spike in April here, where it's similar to what we're seeing in a holiday season. So this is in a lower time, obviously with people being at home and buying online, we're seeing a similar spike to what we're typically seeing in a holiday season. 3 in 10 people this is a Canadian stat here, are shopping for things online that they normally would not have. So they would bought in store. And this one here, it doesn't seem like much of a growth, but 11 to 19%. This is from the UK. I mentioned before that the rate of increase of e-commerce sales as a percentage of the market was 2%. They were already showing an 8% increase so far. So what these are doing is combining to create a far more compelling set of stats towards the trends in e-commerce. So I hope I've got your attention so far around the business opportunity, the business benefits, and where we are at in the market and why it's important. So just that, I wanted to kick that off like that. Here is the agenda for today. As Brenda mentioned, we're going to get into a product demonstration a little bit later. You got me for a few more minutes, and I'm going to walk through some slides to talk about some of the implications of some of those stats. And then I'm going to break down into some frequently asked questions and definitions. So a lot of, we as software people, we're all full of technical jargon. I'm going to try to really make that simple and get into some fairly basic concepts around what is e-commerce, what does it mean to be a top producing e-commerce site, what is an e-commerce platform, what is integrated e-commerce, and how the heck can we do this in 30 days? So those are some of the concepts that we introduced in the agenda and that I will deal with as we go through the presentation here. And we'll, of course, we'll have time for questions at the end. So if you have any questions, throw them into the chat box and Brenda will moderate them and we'll collect them and we'll answer them at the end here. And we should have time to do this unless I start rambling on like I'm doing right now. Okay, so just some conclusions around those stats that I just showed. So if we break down, and I'm not going to get into any more stats than that, but if we break down some of the numbers across industries, across countries, we're seeing global sustained growth in e-commerce. And it's not going away. So it's going to do nothing but get higher. We're seeing patterns in people's buying patterns have changed, and they've changed rapidly. Again, not just business to consumer, but also business to business. And these are in traditional industrial businesses even that typically haven't thought about selling online. But what we know is that we can relate to these as people that are doing this every day. Like you and I can relate to buying stuff online, researching it online, and in doing it off hours. So again, if you've got an e-commerce site, you're open 24/7. And that's what's happening out there. It's not just millennials, it's not just the younger workforce. Yes, they are driving some of the rapid change, but all across the market, people have become used to technology. We're seeing a rapid digital transformation around that, and that's what's forcing the buyer patterns to change. User expectations. It's not just enough to be present online. You have to actually have a good customer experience around it. The same things that have caused your business to be successful for how long you've been in business is, you know, the customer experience, being able to fulfill the orders when you say you will, following up with people, making sure that as they're shopping, you know, going through the sites that they can actually, you know, find the stuff they're looking for, and then making sure the shipping is, you know, exactly what we would expect. Again, I think we can all relate to sites that we may have thought, hey, they got a great, the shopping experience is excellent. It's exactly what I want, but there may have been a glitch that happens to cause you not to be able to fulfill that order. And then you just, within seconds sometimes, go to another site and buy it from there. So again, that's what I say, high user expectations. Well, one of the things that I'll bring back to around the business to business with traditional businesses, including industrial goods and non-industrial supply, is that if you're not doing this, if you're not thinking about being online or not being online or giving your customers a way to research and buy your goods online, there's a really, really good chance that you've got a competitor that is. So the competitor may be from overseas or in the US or somewhere else, but I guarantee that there's an unseen competitor in some cases that is something that your customers that you've done business with for years are researching off hours if you're not giving them that opportunity. Okay, so that's some of the conclusions. Again, why it's important for us to dig into this. What is e-commerce? I'm going to try not to get very technical or detailed here, but there's a couple of flavors around it. First one would be marketplaces, and Amazon is the one that we can all relate to. So what that means is that we've got a marketplace, we can go there where there's a lot of sellers, but and that Amazon is the perfect one. The other one is a commerce website. So the key differences between it, with an e-commerce website, it's your site, your brand, you control the customer experience. Whereas versus Amazon, the benefits of that is you get in front of a lot of people. Amazon does a lot of great things for fulfillment and things like that, but it's Amazon who owns that customer relationship. Key difference there. And they take a lot of fees for all the great things that they do. What we're all trying to get to is this omni-channel experience. And an omni-channel experience, it isn't just enough to be present in different places. So whether you're selling online or selling through a bricks and mortar store, or maybe through an app here. So this is an in-app purchases if you're gaming or something like that. There's a lot of places that people can find your goods online. But the omni-channel experience is where it's consistent. Doesn't matter what the medium is, is where you are consistent across all those. So you may have someone that's shopping in your store, and then they maybe look at it, try it on, then buy it online. Or they may buy it online and then return to your shop or your warehouse or your retail store to have those and return it. Again, the idea is that if you can be present and consistent across all those, that's what the customer's looking for. So what is a top performing e-commerce site? So I think I established, hey, we need one of these things and it's important, but what does it mean to be a top performing site? Performance is key. You got to be able to perform the transactions fast, efficiently, not glitchy, scalability. So if your volumes increase, you want it to be, you be able to handle that volume. Security, absolutely critical. You know what it's like for online banking a few years ago. Well, now, fast forward now, we've got transactions, you've got customer information, and PCI compliance requirements for credit card transactions, things like that. Security is hugely important. Again, I mentioned the high user experience. Shipping, for example, is another one where we're seeing a trend towards next day shipping. So again, if we don't have everything fully automated and integrated, you have to be able to deliver that. And again, customers are seeing that from Amazon where you're getting possibly next day shipping. You have to be able to perform like that. Sales optimization. These are interesting things that you can do with purpose-built e-commerce sites natively out of the box. So if you have accessories, so you're buying a particular product that comes with a certain set of packaging or add-on products or accessories, being able to have those featured when you're buying it. Abandoned carts. Some of the stats are showing that 70% of people, when they go on a site and start to shop, they'll go somewhere else. But if you can reach out to that person and say, hey, we saw you shopping, you left some items in your cart, are you interested? The stats of a sale in that case are huge. Automation, this could be emails where you're following up, or shipment confirmation email. Interesting stat that has we've seen it to have as high as 100% open rate. So what is that? That's an opportunity to engage with your customer and sell more. So as they're going, they want to know where their goods are. Did they get shipped? What's my tracking number? Again, the automation of emails and things like that are critically important to optimize sales. So what we're trying to do is sell more here. And search is just search engine optimization. So quickly, I'll cover off the last few slides here. What is an e-commerce platform? It's a purpose-built site for commerce. So what that is, as opposed to, say, a content management site such as WordPress, the flip side on e-commerce sites, these are some of the industry standard products such as BigCommerce, Magento, Shopify, or WooCommerce. These are common ones. They are purpose-built for displaying and selling products. Things like shopping carts and fulfillment are native to the functionality. Some of the, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs and why some sites are better than others. That's a good conversation to have, but I'm just not don't have the time here to do it right now. I will feature Shopify and BigCommerce. Those are ones that we like that are part of our solution set for some particular reasons that from cost effective, functionality, security, performance, the things that I mentioned. What is integrated e-commerce? So again, from our standpoint, it's important to have an e-commerce platform, but we want it to be driven from the ERP system. So instead of it being an island all on its own out there, which is typical, we would like the data to come from your ERP system. So we already have inventory, accounting, projects, CRM, sales, fulfillment, all that stuff is already being managed. We already have our SKUs, our parts. Let those feed directly to the e-commerce system. That's what integrated e-commerce is. And how can we do this in 30 days? Again, a couple of early options here. We could, if we're not talking about a Shopify Express theme to get a restaurant, that's not what we're talking. We can get a customer portal up and running quickly, which is just an extension of your ERP, but we're talking about integrated e-commerce. So how we can do it, we start with Acumatica Cloud ERP. We have the Commerce Edition. We then get into an e-commerce platform, BigCommerce or Shopify, and then we start with an e-commerce theme. That's how we can get you up and running. Basically, you've got your data already. Let's leverage it and push it out online. We've got the ways to do that, and that's what we'll show you in our demo. So what is Acumatica? Here's a little bit about that. And any device, anywhere, it's a robust set of financials, inventory, and so on. And what we're talking about here now is the Commerce Edition, which includes these key points. Again, it's just an extension of the existing ERP system into a commerce environment. We're going to show you some demonstrations, but this is basically how we're taking a stock item screen and having that flow into e-commerce. But that'll lead me into the next one here, where I'm going to stop this now and turn it over to Samantha and Steve, that they're going to actually take you into the application in a software demo where we're featuring Acumatica Commerce Edition. So thank you, and stay tuned for our product demo. I'll stop share now.
Okay, wonderful. Can everyone see my screen?
Sure can.
Okay, great. So thanks for joining. The first place that I'd like to start here today is on this e-commerce dashboard. So this dashboard is incredibly powerful, and it's pulling information from the native integration between BigCommerce and Acumatica in real time. So here you can see some sample tiles, as this is a demo instance of yesterday's orders, weekly orders, monthly orders, and these can all be the parameters against these tiles can be set based on your preferences. You'll notice that May and June are empty because this is a demo instance, and clearly we haven't placed too many orders. At the same time, you can also track product specifics, identifying your top products over a course of time, or even trending products for 365 days rolling. So these dashboards are consistently and in real time flowing from the native integration between Acumatica and BigCommerce. Now, when we say native integration, what we mean by that is that there is no need to reinvent the wheel. And we'll get into the configuration here in a second. The one thing that I did want to speak to is these all orders to pick and pack. In our previous webinar, we mentioned and fulfilled an order using the shipping clerk dashboard. Now this can get as specific to the point that this particular dashboard could be only e-commerce specific orders. So this comes back to the configuration and tailoring around your business and what's going to work for me? Do you have a specific, e-commerce shipping area or a different warehouse, or would you like everything combined? So if we quickly navigate back to the shipping clerk, you'll notice that they do have the exact same dashboard flowing. All of this information, which is drillable. Now, typically, we don't really go into configuration, but this is a window that I really wanted to show and speak to about that native integration, what that native integration means. What this integration between BigCommerce and Acumatica means is that there is no need to develop integrations or have to manually export data out of BigCommerce and load it into Acumatica for reconciling. So typically that's what we see on the market. However, Acumatica and BigCommerce have developed this, and you can see the directions of which way these particular integration points are going, some being export, some being bidirectional, and some being import. I'm not going to list them all, but the one thing that obviously we want to cover off is sales orders are coming from an import only stance from BigCommerce, because really there's no need to push sales order into the web store or the BigCommerce site, but we do need them to flow in. Another topic I want to mention is these template items. This is particularly great when you have matrix inventory. So when you want to have different SKUs, creating multiple products with colors, sizes, any sort of consumer-based products that have those sort of attributes. It's really great for that. The last thing I do want to also mention, just cover quickly, is stock items. Acumatica naturally integrates on an export feature the stock item onto the web store, which is what I'm going to show you exactly right now. When we make a modification on a stock item, we will see that change reflected almost immediately on the BigCommerce site. So I'm going to open up the Acer laptop computer here, and here we have our sample demo site where we have our categories for all computers and laptops. And if we quickly click on our laptops, we can see the image of the product here and our demo web store with all of the information that is relevant to this particular item. All of this information is flowing from Acumatica. You'll also notice that I'm signed in to a particular account, which we'll cover off here in a moment. So here we have all the the inventory item details, parameters, and of course our attributes, which are also flowing in from the Acumatica site, making it a lot more flexible when it comes to customizing and configuring your system, where you just have to update one field in one particular instance and then flow it into the different, it'll automatically flow into the BigCommerce site. You know, you change an item, and here we can see our category IDs of computers and laptops, which this item particularly belongs to, so it will automatically flow under both these two tabs. In addition to this, I want to make sure that we look at our item. This is the same description we have listed here on the particular item. So what we'll do is make a modification, and we'll make it red so that it appears very, very drastically on our web store. And we'll bold it too. So now when I save this, particular item, Acumatica is going to kick off a process to let BigCommerce know to update that inventory item on that particular web store. So it's really great for making sure that you're only capturing that data once and you're not having to do any redundancy or having to manually update it on your commerce site as well. The one other component I do want to cover is our customers. So if we go to our customer profiles, we see our generic list of customers that we know we have on a typical daily basis. But I created a customer today that if I search it, I can see the customer profile of Samantha's company and EO related orders as e-commerce orders that have been placed. So if we navigate to our sales orders just quick, we'll be able to see the different types of orders that have been listed. In this particular instance, we have 3 e-commerce orders, and obviously the standard counter sales or sales orders as we need as well. So just a little bit of information, how the system actually segregates the orders. In addition to this, if we don't want to have our customers create, you know, profiles and accounts, they don't have to. You know, most commerce sites do allow for that. It does allow for a better user experience for the customer if they do consistently place orders. But if someone wanted to place just a one-time order, all of the information and address details will be stored at the sales order level. So if we go into our laptop now, we should see that modification that we've just changed there on the item profile. And we can go ahead now and place an order for this. And I'll go ahead and pass it over to Steve at that point, where he can then show you how that order flows back into the system. So I've logged in with my account. I'll click to add these items to my cart, and we'll proceed to checkout. And because I'm logged in with that customer profile, we'll have all of my information automatically defaulted, which makes it a little bit easier from the, you know, checking out process. I can specify whether or not I want to pick this item up in store, or I can have free shipping. Now we have free shipping on this particular item because it is over $100, and those are the parameters we set for the web store. And you can set timelines or anything, you know, only weekend we have free shipping. Any sorts of parameters like that is very easy to do. As we're using a demo instance, I'm going to enter my dummy credit card number and my expiry, my name, and our CVV. So because of that integration capability between Acumatica and BigCommerce, there's a couple of things that happens. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to develop anything from scratch, and we don't have to manually export anything from the commerce site and load it back into the ERP for reconciling. So as soon as I've placed my order, the Acumatica system will be notified from BigCommerce that it's time to fulfill the order and it's waiting to be shipped. In addition to this, you'll notice that in my email, I've received an email confirming my order of the particular items that we are going to be shipping. And as soon as the order is fulfilled on Steve's side, I will also be constantly receiving information from the Acumatica commerce site notifying me of shipping, packing, and that it's been delivered. So at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Steve so he can fulfill that order and finalize it.
All right, thanks everyone. So now my screen, I'm logged into the Acumatica backend system, and I've logged in, and my default dashboard is the warehouse manager. And what's happened now in here is I have a widget in the top corner that tells me how many orders there are to ship. This one here was updated a moment ago because all of my dashboard widgets can update on a periodic basis. And if I just click on that widget, it opens up a screen and it shows me all of my orders that are either shipping or waiting to be shipped. And you'll see at the very bottom, there's a new BigCommerce order 129 to Samantha's company. So I can simply go across to the beginning to that sales order, click on the hyperlink for the order number. This will launch the sales order for me. I can review this order, see what's here, and all I need to do, because I want to create a shipment, is go up to Actions and create shipment. So I've created shipment. I'm going to ship from this warehouse, my wholesale warehouse today. And this goes out, creates my shipment inside of Acumatica now. And here's my item. It says 4. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about on here quickly is it also calculated packages. So it says that since you need 4, it creates a large box, and that's the information that would be sent to your shipping company if you're using FedEx or Purolator. If I was to override this and change this to say we only have 2 in stock at the moment, so I'm only going to ship those 2, what the system does automatically is, as soon as I hit save, it automatically says, well, I don't need a large box anymore. I can drop it down to a medium box. So I've got a medium box. I can ship this out. I could switch it back to being a large. The last step, all I need to do is I could go through, print a pick list, go into my warehouse and get those items. And once I'm finished, I just hit the confirm shipment at the top, and the confirm shipment now sends this out of my warehouse and lets the shipping company know that it needs to be en route. The other thing, as Samantha mentioned now, is this item has been shipped. She would be notified by email that her shipment has been created and it's been shipped out via whatever shipping company we chose. And now when I go back to my list of orders, her order is no longer on my list of orders to ship because it's been picked and shipped out the door. What it has done now is it's moved into accounts receivable. So if it wasn't a credit card payment like she had put in, accounts receivable would be notified that they need to invoice the customer. Since it's a credit card payment, it's already processed through and the order is completed. Right. And I can pass it back to, I guess, Murray now.
I think back to me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much. That was a great demo and very powerful. And I found those stats at the beginning very interesting. And I know personally, I've been shopping online way more since COVID-19 hit. Well, we do have a couple of questions that have come in. The first one is, what is a customer portal? Who wants to take that?
Customer portal, I could probably take that one. The customer portal is a really great solution when it comes to B2B commerce. So the customer portal is really designed for B2B distributors who have those consistent and reoccurring transactions that are very similar. So it allows your customers to log in and place orders directly with a login screen from the website. So they just log in, enter their username and password, and be able to seamlessly place orders. It's very powerful for B2B and great for reoccurring consistent transactions.
Great, thanks, Sam. Another question. What kind of web design tools do you recommend? Wix, or is there some other tool that is recommended for integration? Who wants to take that one?
I can probably take that one too. I don't know if Murray, you want to take it?
I can, I'll comment a couple of things, and certainly one of the things that we don't want to do is get very technical. That was kind of the caveat at the start, is that some of the stuff can get very technical. What we found when this stuff, website e-commerce first came out 15 years ago was like a bit of a wild west, and sure, it's in some cases it's still a little bit like that. What you can decide, do you want to be a web developer, or do you want to kind of go about and do your business? And so you can get very technical. You can still develop websites and e-commerce websites using HTML5 code. But what the trade-off will be, it'll take longer. You have to have expertise, but you're probably going to also trade off somewhere in the performance and the security and the user experience. So you can spend a lot of time to develop a bunch of stuff, and you can do that. But like I say, if you adopt something out of the box that's purpose-built for e-commerce, you're going to get ahead a lot faster. So sorry, Sam, I don't want to, if you want to add to that. But
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that caused another question to come in, and it's related to the Wix platform. I've seen Wix advertised on TV. What is that, and why wouldn't we use Wix?
Yeah, so again, there are hundreds of tools and stuff like that. So Wix is actually a very popular tool, and it's typically, we see it for entry-level sites. So I've seen on TV, you can build a website in a couple of hours using a Wix template. I know when I we set up our new Aqurus site, I looked at a Wix template, and it was perfect to get up and running quick, but we couldn't get some of the content management and some of the, and also some of the commerce stuff that we needed. Wix does have an e-commerce add-on, but again, they are typically designed for entry-level kind of beginner friendly sites. So Wix actually rates very high in user friendliness. It's just, it's not designed out of the box to be an enterprise level or a commercial e-commerce site. I would say is, in terms of user satisfaction, I think Shopify is probably the top rated e-commerce site, but both Wix and Shopify rate high for satisfaction and user scores. Just Wix is probably more entry level and more non-e-commerce than you might see with Shopify.
Well, that's great. Thank you. I hope that answered your questions. We are 1 minute over, so we're going to end this webinar, and we want to thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget our website, www.accurus.ca. And if you have any questions on this or anything else, please give us a call or email Samantha at sniton@accurus.ca. We will have another webinar in August. We'll have the announcement out very quickly, and we hope you can join us then. So thanks, and have a great day.